Well, today I'm looking at one of the most stylish cars to come out in a long time. It's the LC 500 from Lexus, and this is a car that debuted in Detroit at the auto show as a concept vehicle, and a lot of people thought, well, Lexus can't possibly make that car because all of the curves on the body panels are really technically hard to accomplish. But they pushed forward and they came out with this car, and it is a bit of a technological marvel to make a car with this kind of sweeping shape at a price that they're able to achieve here. So the LC 500 is made on the same assembly plant as the LFA supercar. This LC 500 is built on a new platform, rear-wheel drive, low slung to the ground, and I particularly like the front. Now, Lexus has been vilified for their spindle grille. On some of their vehicles, like their big SUVs, they can look a little ridiculous, but on this car, it really does work. It helps anchor the front of the car to the ground. Very small, narrow headlamps in the front. Around the back, it could be a little bit more masculine for my taste. It looks a bit pinched, and that's the angle of the car I think they could easily change by making it look a little flatter and broader, giving it a more anchored look at the back. Regardless of that, it is a very, very nice looking car. This one has the performance package with 21-inch forged alloy wheels, and it really is a striking car. You know you've got a hit on your hands when you drive this thing around, and it literally stops traffic, people taking pictures out of their car windows of me driving this car. So it really is something to see, and it's nice to see that Lexus has come up with something exciting. They make no bones about it. This is not a flat-out sports car. It's a luxury coupe. It's a touring car. And when we go for a drive, I think they've accomplished that. If you're looking for flat-out performance, this might not be the Lexus for you. Inside is beautifully put together, but it has a few quirks. Well, this car is beautifully put together. There's leather everywhere. This one has the performance package, which adds the Alcantara inserts into the seats for a better grip, Alcantara headliner, and also you get the scuff plates on the doors. Oh, by the way, the doors, to get in and out, they have the retractable handles. You push them and they pop out, and you push them again and it locks the car. So that's kind of a sleek look to the outside, and it continues on the inside. Yes, there are two seats in the back, but there's no room back there. I'm not sure why they try to make it a 2+2. I guess to compete with cars like the 911 where you can't put little kids in the back seat. Looking forward, the instrument cluster is similar to the LFA supercar. It has the center cluster that moves from one side to the other. That's where that first debuted. You also have the trackpad here in the center for accessing the infotainment system in the center of the console, and it's what we've come to expect from other Lexus products, but there were too many steps to pair my Bluetooth. I went to the Bluetooth and there was nowhere to add a phone. I had to go to settings, I had to register the phone, then I had to go back into Bluetooth. It just seemed like there was way too many steps. Something like that should be much, much simpler. Same thing for the heated seats and the heated steering wheel or the cooled seats. There's no button anywhere on the dash. You have to go into the interface in order to access that. So that could be simpler. But the way it's put together, absolutely beautiful. The Alcantara in the sides of the doors and on top of the center cluster. So no faulting the way it's put together, absolutely. But it is really just a two-seater. Let's get into what Lexus did absolutely right with this car. And I'll push on the gas. That's the sound. This is a 5-liter V8. It's the same V8 that's used in the RCF and the GSF. It has 471 horsepower, and they apparently spent a lot of time getting the right sound not only in the cabin but outside the car as well. So I think that is absolutely spot on. But it's really not that hard to do because you're dealing with a V8 and not a 6-cylinder, which we're seeing more and more in the automotive world. For example, just last week, I was driving the new RS5 from Audi, and it's gone away from a V8, and it now has a twin-turbo 6-cylinder engine. So much easier to get this kind of sound when you're using a V8 engine versus a twin-turbo 6. So that's all good. In addition, it has a 10-speed automatic transmission, not a dual clutch, 10-speed. And what they say is the gears are evenly spaced There's none that are longer or shorter than the others, and that helps keep the torque through a flat RPM range when you're driving aggressively. So 10-speed automatic transmission. Does it have any downfalls? Well, the shifts are lightning quick, so that is not an issue. I do have an issue with, and I'll put this back into just regular drive for a moment. Once in a while, on and off, so I'll slow down here, on and off the throttle when you're sort of in stop and go traffic, it is a bit jerky. So that could be smoothed out for sure. But at the essence, how does this car feel? Well, Lexus can't really get away from themselves. They are a brand that is traditional luxury, and now they have a sporty, and they make no bones about it. This is a touring car. So how does it compare to other touring cars? Well, the car that I would put it up against would be the Jaguar F-Type R, okay? That also has a V8 engine and is sort of similar size to this, and that too has a touring nature. That one is edgier though. This car, as I mentioned, Lexus can't get away from what they really represent. They're a luxury brand, they have traditional luxury buyers, and even when this car is on its firmest and most aggressive setting, it still has Lexus through and through. So they obviously have parameters about just how firm they want this car to be, just how aggressive they want it to be, but it isn't. Even on its most aggressive setting, I wish it was a little bit more aggressive. So for a touring car, a Grand Touring Coupe, they got it, absolutely. Should it be available with something a little bit more? Well, maybe that's where they're going to have an LCF in the future, with maybe a turbocharged version or a supercharged version of this engine, or something else they might have up their sleeve. But as it stands right now, this is a wonderful car to drive and tour with. It isn't an all-out sports car. It sure feels and sounds sporty though, because of that engine and the sound that it makes. So what's my overall impression of this LC500? Well, it's beautifully put together, it drives very nicely, but it doesn't excite me. The styling really is elegant. It's not to my taste though. Around the back it could be a little bit more masculine. It certainly turns heads. The pricing, it's $101,600 for the LC500. This one has the $13,500 performance package, gets you that limited slip, it gets you the 21-inch aluminum wheels. You get the sport seats and more, and that brings the price up to $115,000. So I did a little of a comparison. The Jaguar F-Type R that has 550 horsepower with its supercharged V8 and all-wheel drive is the same price as this car with the performance package. So that's a comparable. It's got more power, and it has all-wheel drive, and it has an edgier drive when you ratchet it up to its highest level. But what do you get with Lexus? It's gonna work. It's gonna work every day. It's gonna have amazing resale value, beautifully put together, and that's what Lexus banks on.